It was a bright and sunny Saturday in our little neighborhood. The playground was buzzing with happy noise. Kids were running all over the place, shouting and giggling. My two little ones, Jake and Mia, were right in the middle of it. Jake is 6, and Mia is 4. They love the playground. Jake was zooming down the slide, yelling, "Wee!" Mia was chasing a butterfly, her tiny feet stomping the grass. They were just being kids, having fun like always. Most people who lived nearby liked seeing the kids play. They'd smile and wave at us from their porches or windows. It felt nice, like we all belonged here. But not everyone was happy. Nope, not Karen. Oh boy, Karen was a whole different story. She didn't smile. She didn't wave. She didn't even look friendly. Karen walked around like she was the boss of everything. Her head was up high, and her nose stuck out like she smelled something bad. She acted like she owned the whole street, not just her house, but every house, every tree, every swing. Everyone called her the HOA Queen. HOA means Homeowners Association. It's a group that makes rules for the neighborhood, like how tall your grass can be or what color your mailbox should be. Karen loved those rules. She loved them too much. If your grass grew a tiny bit too long, like one little blade sticking up, she'd be there with her clipboard. "That's against the rules," she'd say, all loud and mad. Then she'd write you a fine. A fine is when you have to pay money for breaking a rule. She'd fine you for anything. One time, she fined my neighbor Mr. Tom because his dog barked too loud. Another time, she fined Mrs. Lucy because her flowers were too bright. Too bright? Can you believe that? Karen was always watching, always complaining, always making trouble. That Saturday, she was at it again. I could see her from the playground. She was standing on her porch, arms crossed, staring at us. Her eyes were squinted, like she was trying to find something wrong. Jake and Mia didn't notice her. They were too busy playing. But I saw her. I knew she was up to something. She didn't like kids being loud or messy. And our playground? It was loud and messy. Kids were everywhere, running, jumping, shouting. To Karen, that was like a big, giant problem. Now, here's where things get interesting. My name's Alex. I'm Jake and Mia's dad. We moved here a few months ago, just the three of us. I'm a quiet guy. I don't talk a lot. I don't make a fuss. I just take care of my kids and keep to myself. When we got here, people were nice. They said hi, brought us cookies, asked how we liked the house. I'd nod and say, "It's great, thanks." That's me, just a regular dad, right? That's what everyone thought. They saw me pushing Mia on the swing or tossing a ball with Jake, and they figured that's all I was. A dad. Nothing special. But here's the thing, I had a secret. A big one. Nobody knew it, not the neighbors, not the other parents, not even Karen. I wasn't just Alex, the quiet dad. I was something else, too. Something Karen didn't expect. And that Saturday, with the sun shining and the kids laughing, she was about to find out. She thought she could boss me around, scare me with her rules and her fines. But oh boy, was she wrong. I had something up my sleeve, something that would turn her whole day upside down. See, I'd been watching Karen just like she'd been watching us. I noticed how she acted. I saw how she treated people. She thought she was so smart, so important. She thought nobody could stop her. But I wasn't scared of her. Nope. I was ready. That playground, those kids, my Jake and Mia, they were mine to protect. And Karen? She was about to learn that messing with us was a bad idea. Let's rewind a bit. When we moved in, I didn't tell anyone much about me. I kept it simple. "Hi, I'm Alex. These are my kids, Jake and Mia. Nice to meet you." That's all they got. I didn't brag or show off. I didn't need to. I liked being quiet. It let me watch things. It let me listen. And boy, did I hear stuff about Karen. The neighbors whispered about her all the time. "She's mean," they'd say. "She's nosy. She's trouble." I'd nod and keep my mouth shut. But inside, I was paying attention. That Saturday, I stood by the playground, hands in my pockets. Jake was climbing the monkey bars now, calling, "Look, Dad." Mia was picking dandelions, her little hands full of yellow flowers. I smiled at them. They were happy. That's what mattered. But then I glanced at Karen. She was still on her porch, still staring. I could almost hear her thinking, those kids are too loud. That dad's too lazy. I'm gonna fix this. She didn't know I was watching her right back. So, what was my secret? I'll give you a hint, it wasn't just about being a dad. I had a job, a special job. Something I was good at. Something that made me different from everyone else here. Karen thought she could push me around, but she didn't know who she was dealing with. She didn't know what I could do. And that Saturday, with the playground full of kids and the sun high in the sky, she was about to find out the hard way. Here's a fun question for you, what do you think my secret is? Maybe I'm a superhero. Maybe I'm a spy. Maybe I'm something else. Guess in the comments. I bet you'll be surprised when you hear the truth. Because trust me, it's a good one. Karen had no idea what was coming. She thought she was the queen of the neighborhood, but I was about to show her she wasn't as big as she thought. The playground was loud that day, but it was a happy loud. Kids laughing, feet pounding, swings creaking. Jake and Mia were right in the middle, having the best time. I loved seeing them like that. But Karen? She hated it. And she was about to do something about it. She didn't know it yet, but her big plan was going to flop. Big time. Because I wasn't just Alex, the quiet dad. I was Alex, the guy with a secret. And that secret? It was gonna change everything. Karen had been acting like a big boss all week long. She didn't like the playground one bit. Every day, she'd come stomping over with her clipboard in her hands. That clipboard was her favorite thing. She'd scribble little notes on it, muttering stuff like noise violations and unapproved playtime. Noise violations. That just meant the kids were laughing and shouting too loud for her. Unapproved playtime. She didn't like that they were playing when she didn't say it was okay. Can you imagine? She wanted to control everything, even the fun. That Saturday, she was madder than ever. The playground was full of kids, including my little ones, Jake and Mia. They were running around, happy as can be. Jake was tossing a ball, and Mia was skipping in circles. I was standing there, watching them, feeling good. But Karen? Oh no, she wasn't feeling good at all. She came storming over to me like a big thundercloud. Her feet hit the ground hard, thump, thump, thump. Her face was all red, and her eyes were squinty and mean. She stopped right in front of me and yelled so loud the whole block could hear her. This playground is a disgrace, she snapped. Her voice was sharp, like a barking dog. These kids are out of control. I'm calling 911 right now. She pointed her finger at me, then at Jake and Mia, then at all the other kids. She acted like they were doing something awful, but they were just playing. Just being kids. I didn't get mad, though. Nope. I just stood there with my hands in my pockets. I looked at her and smiled. Not a big smile, just a little one. Go ahead, Karen, I said, nice and calm. She stared at me like I was crazy. Her eyes got wide, then narrow again. She didn't like that I wasn't scared. She didn't like that I wasn't yelling back. What's wrong with you? Her face seemed to say. She huffed and puffed, like a dragon about to breathe fire. Then she pulled out her phone, holding it up like it was a weapon. You'll see, she said. The police will fix this. She started tapping the buttons 9-1-1. I didn't move. I just kept smiling. Behind her, the other parents were watching. There was Mrs. Lucy with her bright flowers, and Mr. Tom with his noisy dog. They didn't like Karen either. They whispered to each other, rolling their eyes. She's nuts, I heard Mr. Tom mutter. Calling the cops on kids. Really? Mrs. Lucy shook her head and said, she's gone too far this time. They thought Karen was being silly. I did, too. But I wasn't worried. Not one bit. See, Karen thought she was so smart. She thought she could scare me with her big voice and her phone call. She thought I'd beg her to stop or run away. But I didn't. I stood there, cool as a cucumber. Why? Because I knew something she didn't. Trouble was coming for her. Big trouble. And it wasn't because of my kids or the playground. Nope. It was because of her. She'd been doing sneaky, bad stuff, and I had a secret that was going to catch her. All week, she'd been marching around, acting like the queen of the neighborhood. She'd glare at the playground every time a kid laughed too loud or ran too fast. She'd write her little notes and shake her head, like she was so important. Too noisy, she'd grumble. Too messy, she'd say. She even told me once that the swings were dangerous because they squeaked. Squeaked. Can you believe that? She wanted everything perfect, quiet, and boring. But kids aren't quiet. Kids aren't boring. And I wasn't going to let her ruin their fun. That day, she was extra grumpy. Maybe it was the sunshine. Maybe it was all the happy noise. Whatever it was, she couldn't stand it. When she stormed over and yelled at me, I could see the other parents watching. Some of them looked annoyed. Some looked tired. They were sick of Karen, too. She'd been bossing everyone around for months. Fining people for silly things. Yelling about rules nobody cared about. She thought she was in charge, but she wasn't. Not really. I kept my hands in my pockets and watched her dial 911. Hello, she said into the phone, her voice loud and whiny. Yes, this is Karen Thompson from Maple Street. I've got a big problem here. These kids are out of control. The playground is a mess. Send someone right now. She kept talking, waving her free hand around like she was directing traffic. The other parents giggled a little. Jake and Mia didn't even notice. They were too busy playing. Karen hung up and smirked at me. You're in trouble now, she said, crossing her arms. She thought she'd won. She thought the police would come and shut down the playground, maybe even yell at me. She thought I'd be scared. But I wasn't. I just shrugged and said, okay, Karen. That made her even madder. She didn't like that I wasn't fighting back. She wanted me to argue, to get upset. But I didn't give her what she wanted. I stayed calm. Why wasn't I worried? Because I knew something big. Karen didn't know it yet, but she was the one in trouble. Not me. Not the kids. Her. She'd been doing stuff she shouldn't, bad stuff. And I wasn't just a regular dad standing there. I had a secret, a really good one. I'd been watching her, just like she'd been watching us. I saw things. I heard things. And soon, she'd find out I wasn't as quiet and boring as she thought. The tension was building, like a storm getting ready to break. Karen stood there, all proud and mean, waiting for the police to show up. The other parents whispered and waited, too. Jake and Mia kept playing, their voices happy and loud. I stayed still, my little smile stuck on my face. Karen didn't know what was coming. She didn't know the cops weren't coming for the playground. They were coming for her. And that's when things were going to get really exciting. She thought she could boss me around. She thought she could scare me with her clipboard and her phone call. But I wasn't scared. I was ready. Trouble was brewing, and it wasn't for me or my kids. It was for Karen. She'd been mean and sneaky for too long, and now it was catching up to her. She didn't see it yet, but I did. And I couldn't wait for her to find out. Karen was mad, really mad. She yanked her phone out of her pocket like it was a magic wand. She punched the numbers 9-1-1 and started talking fast. Hello? Yes, this is Karen from Maple Street, she barked into the phone. There are rowdy kids here. The playground is a mess. It's neighborhood chaos. Send help now. Her voice was loud and sharp, like she was trying to scare everyone. She paced back and forth, her shoes stomping the grass. She thought she was winning. She thought the police would come running to stop the kids. I just stood there, watching her. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I had a little grin on my face, and that made her even madder. She didn't know why I was smiling. She didn't know what I knew. See, I'd been keeping an eye on her for weeks. Not in a creepy way, just watching, paying attention. Karen thought she ran this whole neighborhood, like she was the queen or something. But I'd seen things. Little things. Sneaky things. And those little things were starting to add up. For example, I'd noticed her at night. Not every night, but sometimes. She'd sneak around when it was dark, tiptoeing down the street. She'd stop at mailboxes that weren't hers. She'd peek inside, quick and quiet, like she didn't want anyone to see. I saw her, though. I'd be looking out my window, sipping my coffee, and there she was. Why was she checking other people's mail? That's not normal. That's weird. It made me wonder what she was up to. Then there were the delivery guys. Poor guys. They'd come with packages, big ones, small ones, whatever, and Karen would storm out of her house. "You're late," she'd yell, even if they were on time. Or, "You parked wrong," when their truck was fine. One time, I saw her scream at a guy just for ringing her doorbell. "Don't touch my bell," she shouted. He looked so confused. I felt bad for him. She didn't have a reason to be so mean, but she was. Every time. It was like she wanted everyone to be scared of her. Those little hints sneaking at night, yelling for no reason, told me something wasn't right with Karen. She acted big and tough, but I had a feeling she was hiding something. Something bad. I didn't know what it was yet, but I was starting to figure it out. And that Saturday, with her yelling about the playground, I knew things were about to get interesting. While Karen paced and talked on her phone, the kids kept playing. They didn't care about her. Jake was tossing a ball back and forth with his friend Timmy. The ball went up, down, and Jake laughed every time he caught it. Mia was giggling, chasing a little bug she'd found. "Come back, bug," she said in her tiny voice. They were happy. Oblivious. That means they didn't even notice Karen or her big, loud fuss. To them, it was just another fun day at the playground. Karen didn't see it that way. She kept walking back and forth, waiting for the cops to show up. She'd look at me, then at the kids, then at her phone. "They'll be here soon," she muttered. "You'll see." She thought the police would come and shut everything down. She thought she'd get her way, like always. But she didn't see what I saw. She didn't see the police car already parked down the street. It was just sitting there, quiet and still. A blue and white car with police written on the side. It was far enough away that most people wouldn't notice. The other parents didn't see it. They were too busy whispering about Karen or watching their own kids. Jake and Mia didn't see it. They were too busy with their ball and their bug. Karen didn't see it either. She was too busy being loud and bossy. But I saw it. I'd seen it pull up a few minutes ago. And I knew why it was there. That's the thing about secrets, they're sneaky. Karen had her secrets, and I had mine. She didn't know I'd been watching her. She didn't know I'd seen her sneaky mailbox trips or heard her yelling at those delivery guys. She didn't know I was putting the pieces together. And she really didn't know about that police car. It wasn't there for the kids. It wasn't there for me. It was there for her. Yep, Karen was in trouble, and she had no idea. The clock was ticking. Not a real clock, but you know, like time was moving, and something big was about to happen. Karen's big moment, her chance to be the boss and scare everyone, was about to flop. Big time. She thought she was so smart, calling 911 and yelling at me. She thought she'd win. But I was grinning because I knew she wouldn't. I knew what was coming. I'd been quiet for weeks, just watching and waiting. Now, it was almost time. The playground was still loud and happy. Kids shouted. Swings squeaked. Jake's ball bounced. Mia's giggles floated through the air. Karen kept pacing, her phone still in her hand. She'd hung up now, but she was muttering to herself. "They'll fix this," she said. "They'll stop these noisy kids." She glared at me again, like she wanted me to argue. But I didn't. I just stood there, hands in my pockets, smiling that little smile. She didn't get it. She didn't see the police car. She didn't know I'd been watching her sneaky moves. She didn't know trouble was headed her way. But I did. I'd seen the hints. I'd noticed the little things. And now, with that car parked down the street, I knew it was almost time for the truth to come out. Karen's big plan was falling apart, and she didn't even see it yet. The air felt thick, like something big was building up. The kids played. The parents whispered. Karen paced. And I waited. I wasn't scared. I wasn't mad. I was ready. Karen thought she was in charge, but she wasn't. Not anymore. Something was about to happen, something she'd never expect. And when it did, she'd find out I wasn't just a quiet dad. I was something more. Something she should have been afraid of all along. The playground was buzzing with noise, kids laughing, swings creaking, and then, all of a sudden, sirens chirped. Not loud, just a quick little beep beep from down the street. Everyone turned to look. 2 police officers climbed out of the car I'd seen parked there earlier. They were tall and serious, with shiny badges on their shirts. Karen saw them, and her face lit up like it was Christmas morning. Her eyes got big, and she clapped her hands together. Finally, she shouted, so loud it made Mia jump. She pointed right at me, her finger shaking. "Arrest this man. His kids are a menace." A menace means something bad or dangerous. She thought Jake and Mia were ruining everything just by playing. She stood there, arms crossed, looking so proud. She was sure the cops were here because of her 911 call. She thought she'd won. She thought the police would grab me, yell at me, maybe even take me away. Her grin was huge, like she'd just beat me at a game. But here's the funny thing, the cops didn't even look at me. Not once. They didn't care about me or the kids. Instead, they started walking straight toward her. Karen didn't notice at first. She kept pointing at me, yelling, "Hurry up. Get him." But then she saw where they were going. Her grin started to slip. Her mouth twitched. The officers stopped right in front of her, and one of them pulled out a little notepad. He flipped it open and looked at her with a serious face. "Karen Thompson," he said, his voice calm but strong. Karen blinked. Yes," she answered, sounding confused. The officer nodded. "We've got a warrant for your arrest." A warrant is like a permission slip from a judge. It means the police can take you away if you've done something wrong. When the officer said that, the whole crowd gasped. Everyone, parents, kids, even old Mr. Tom with his dog went "oh," all at once. Karen's jaw dropped. Her mouth fell open so wide you could see her teeth. "What?" she shrieked. Her voice was high and squeaky now, not loud and bossy like before. "This is outrageous. You've got the wrong person." She waved her hands around, stomping her feet like a kid having a tantrum. She looked at the cops, then at me, then back at the cops. "No, no, no," she yelled. "I called you. I'm the good guy here. Arrest him." She pointed at me again, but the officers didn't budge. They just stood there, staring at her. The other parents started whispering. "What's going on?" Mrs. Lucy said. "Did she do something bad?" Mr. Tom asked. Everyone was confused, everyone except me. That's when I decided it was time. I took a step forward, nice and slow. My hands were still in my pockets, and I was still smiling that little smile. I looked at Karen, then at the crowd, and I raised my voice so everyone could hear me. "Oh, didn't I mention?" I said, loud and clear. "I'm not just a dad. I'm a private investigator. A private investigator is like a detective you hire to find out secrets. And Karen," I went on, pointing at her now, "I've been watching you scam this neighborhood for months, stealing checks, faking fines, all of it." The crowd gasped again, even louder this time. Karen's face went white, like she'd seen a ghost. Her eyes got huge, and her hands dropped to her sides. What are you talking about?" she stammered. But I wasn't done. "I saw you sneaking around at night," I said. "Checking mailboxes that weren't yours. Stealing checks people were sending in the mail. And those fines you made us pay? You kept the money for yourself. You pretended it was for the HOA, but it wasn't. It went right into your pocket." The officers nodded at me. They knew all this already. See, I'd been working with them. I'd been watching Karen for weeks, writing down everything I saw. I told the police what she was doing, stealing, lying, scamming everyone. They checked it out and found proof. That's why they had that warrant. They were waiting for me to give them the signal, and now was the perfect time. Karen thought she'd called the cops on me, but they were already here for her. Karen started shaking her head. "No. That's a lie," she yelled. "He's making it up." But nobody believed her. The other parents were staring at her now, not me. "Is that true?" Mrs. Lucy whispered. She took our money. Mr. Tom said, scratching his head. The kids stopped playing. Even Jake and Mia looked over, wondering what was happening. The air felt heavy, like a big storm was about to hit. I kept talking. You thought you could boss us around, Karen, I said. You thought nobody would notice. But I did. I saw you yell at delivery guys to scare them off. I saw you sneak those checks. I saw you write fake fines. You've been stealing from us for months, and now it's over. The officers stepped closer to her. One of them pulled out handcuffs, shiny silver ones that clicked when he opened them. Karen Thompson, he said, you're under arrest for theft and fraud. Fraud means lying to trick people out of money. That's what Karen did. She lied to us, and now she was caught. Her face twisted up, all red and angry. This is ridiculous, she screamed. You can't do this. But the cops could. They grabbed her arms, gentle but firm, and clicked the handcuffs on her wrists. She kept yelling, let me go. This is a mistake. But it wasn't a mistake. It was the truth coming out. The crowd was buzzing now. Parents clapped. Kids cheered. Yay, Dad! Jake shouted, jumping up and down. Mia giggled and clapped her hands. Karen's big plan had flopped. She thought she'd get me in trouble, but instead, she was the one in trouble. Big trouble. I looked at her and shrugged. You should have left the kids alone, I said. She glared at me, but she couldn't do anything. The cops had her. That was the big moment, the reveal. I wasn't just Alex, the quiet dad. I was Alex, the private investigator who caught the neighborhood scammer. Karen thought she was the boss, but she was wrong. The cops were here for her, not me. And now everyone knew it. The playground went wild with cheers, and Karen's smug grin was gone for good. Karen's face turned super red, like a tomato. The cops had her hands behind her back, and they snapped the shiny handcuffs on her wrists. Click, click, they locked tight. This is a mistake, she yelled, her voice loud and whiny. She twisted and turned, trying to pull away, but the officers held on. She looked at the crowd, hoping someone would help her. You've got the wrong person, she shouted. But nobody believed her. Not one bit. They'd heard the truth from me, and they saw the cops. Karen was caught, and everyone knew it. The other parents started cheering. Woohoo! Mrs. Lucy clapped her hands. Way to go! Mr. Tom shouted, his dog barking along. The cops led Karen to their squad car, the blue and white one with police on the side. She kept yelling, let me go, but they didn't listen. They opened the car door, and she had to duck her head to get in. Her fancy shoes scraped the ground as she tried to fight, but it was no use. The door shut with a loud thud, and that was that. Here's what happened: Karen had been sneaky for a long time. She was stealing money, lots of it. She took the HOA fees we all paid to keep the neighborhood nice. You know, money for fixing the playground or planting flowers. She didn't use it for that. Nope. She kept it for herself. She also made fake papers, forging documents, they call it, to trick people. Thousands of dollars were gone because of her. Poof. Into her pocket. But I found out. I tracked it all down, like a detective in a movie. I told the police everything, and we waited for the right time to catch her. That Saturday was it. When the cops took her away, the playground got quiet for just a second. Everyone looked around, like they couldn't believe it. Then boom, it exploded with noise. Clapping, cheering, laughing. Nice work, Alex, someone yelled from the back. I turned and saw Mr. Tom waving at me. Mrs. Lucy smiled big, her bright flowers bouncing as she clapped. Even the kids joined in. Jake ran over, shouting, "You're awesome, Dad." Mia giggled and hugged my leg, her little arms tied around me. I waved at everyone, feeling pretty good. "Thanks," I said, grinning. I hugged Jake and Mia back, lifting Mia up so she could see the crowd. The neighborhood was free now. Free from Karen's mean rules and sneaky tricks. She couldn't boss us around anymore. She couldn't fine us for silly things or yell at the kids for playing. The playground was ours again, and the kids could run and laugh as much as they wanted. Peace was back, and it felt amazing. Justice. Oh yeah, it felt so good. Karen got what she deserved. She thought she could scare me and ruin our fun, but I stopped her. The cops took her away, and we all cheered. The sun was still shining, the swings were still squeaking, and the neighborhood felt happy again. That's what happens when the bad guy loses and the good guys win. The sun was going down, turning the sky all pink and orange. It looked pretty over the playground. I stood there, watching my kids, Jake and Mia, chase each other around. Jake ran fast, his shoes kicking up dirt. Mia tried to keep up, laughing so hard she could barely breathe. They were free now, free from Karen's mean glares and loud yelling. She wasn't there anymore, staring from her porch or stomping over with her clipboard. The cops had taken her away, and the playground felt happy again. I smiled, feeling warm inside. It was a good day. Here's the thing I learned: sometimes the quiet guy, the one you don't notice much, knows more than you think. That was me. I'm Alex, just a dad, right? That's what everyone thought. I didn't talk a lot. I didn't make a big fuss. I'd stand by the swings or sit on a bench, watching my kids play. People walked by and said, "Hi, Alex," and I'd wave back. They didn't know I was watching more than just Jake and Mia. They didn't know I was paying attention to Karen, too. I saw her sneaky stuff, stealing from mailboxes, yelling at people, keeping our money. I was quiet, but I wasn't dumb. I knew things. And the loudest bullies? Like Karen? They're usually hiding something. She was always shouting, always pointing, always acting big and tough. She wanted everyone to think she was the boss. But she wasn't. She was scared we'd find out her secrets. That's why she was so loud, to cover it up. She thought if she made enough noise, nobody would look too close. But I did. I looked, and I saw. And when the time was right, I told the truth. The loud bully got caught, and the quiet guy won. So here's some advice: next time someone tries to push you around, just smile. Don't get mad. Don't yell back. Just smile and wait. You never know who's watching, who's ready to turn the tables. That means flipping things around, like I did with Karen. She thought she'd get me in trouble, but I got her instead. Bullies don't always win, even if they're loud. Sometimes the quiet ones, the ones who listen and watch, they're the ones who fix things. You can be one of those people, too. Stay calm, keep your eyes open, and don't let the mean ones scare you. Watching Jake and Mia play made me think about that. They didn't know all the sneaky stuff Karen did. They didn't know I was a private investigator, catching her red-handed. They just knew they could play again without her yelling. That's what mattered. The playground was theirs, and nobody could take it away. It made me happy to see them so free. It made me proud that I helped make that happen. Sometimes, being quiet and smart is the best way to be strong. What did you think of that twist? Pretty cool, right? I bet you didn't guess I was more than just a dad. Karen sure didn't. She thought she was the smartest one around, but she was wrong. I love hearing what you think, so tell me in the comments, did that surprise you? And here's another fun question: who's the nosiest person you've ever met? Maybe it's a neighbor like Karen, always peeking out windows. Maybe it's a friend who asks too many questions. I want to know. Drop your answers below, I read them all. The sun was almost gone now, just a little glow left in the sky. Jake and Mia ran over, sweaty and grinning. "Dad, that was fun," Jake said. Mia nodded, holding a dandelion she'd picked. I hugged them both, feeling like the luckiest dad ever. We'd beat the bully together, even if they didn't know it. The neighborhood was better now, and so were we. So keep smiling, keep watching, and don't be afraid to stand up when it's time. You might surprise everyone just like I did. See you in the next story, friends.